She is not ready for this red ball of seduction. Hi, my name is Lacey, and this is my recap of episode 5 of Temptation Island, season 5. It is hot in LA today. I am very, very sticky. So let's get into the temptation, because I think they're all sticky and sweaty too from all this butt dancing and shaking. The girls' house, woo! Last we saw, at the girls' house, Tajik was in Paris's bed, and this morning, she is making him breakfast. So it must have been good. Must have been a good night for all involved. Vanessa and Maricela are talking, and Vanessa doesn't feel safe. She doesn't feel like she can trust people easily because of her past relationships. She says that nobody is worthy of her and her power. Maricela says that she's used to taking care of men in relationships, and she is done being controlled by Christopher. After eating breakfast, apparently, Tajik and Paris are chatting, and she asks him, "Oh, what do you want in life?" She wants to know more about him. What do you want in life? And he's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. Like, I'm just living in the moment. I'm here. And she gets mad about it. So Paris is like, well, if you don't want to live up to my standards of, I guess, being a little bit more committed, a little bit more settled down, a little more secure and in a relationship, then he should go talk to other girls. And he just is like, okay. So he gets up and leaves. I don't know what this means. At the guy's house, Michaela and Hall are talking about right person, wrong time. And he said that's pretty much what this is. Tammy and Great, she's like, what the hell? You need to decide, because otherwise I'm done with you. I just want to have fun and dance and flirt and stuff like that. So she's putting pressure on Great and Nafisa. So he goes from Tammy to Nafisa, and Nafisa says she's done with him too. I don't know. First they're fighting over him, and now they're both done with him. So I can't keep up. At the guy's house, they play a game of Truth or Dare Jenga, and they write on the Jenga pieces themselves. Great gets the question of who in the house annoys him the most or has a bad habit that annoys him the most. And he is actually very tactful. And he says it annoys him when Nafisa and Tammy fight. So it's not about them individually, it's about them fighting. Okay, good call, Great. Alexis has to kiss somebody, and she kisses Abby because she's a little too shy to kiss Christopher, who she has a crush on right now. So she kisses Abby instead because she doesn't want the first kiss with Chris to be in front of everybody. Hall pulls a piece, and his is like, what is your greatest fear in a relationship? And his was like lying to the other person and yourself in order to make the relationship work. So not being true to oneself in a relationship. Nafisa pulls a piece, and she has to kiss somebody, and Great volunteers his tribute. So Great stands up. He's like, where should I go? I'm ready. And they have a sexy little smooch. And this smooch is much... You can see the difference between adults and Love Island people who are like in their 20s because of the way they kiss. It's a lot more sexy, sensual time enjoyment than like, I'm gonna eat your face. Just saying. This was a sexy kiss between Nafisa and Great. Meanwhile, Tammy's sitting there regretting putting in kiss somebody on the Jenga. She wrote them. It's her fault. She only has herself to blame. And here we get the big news from Mark, and this is what I've been waiting for. The red light of doom, or the red light of sexiness. They call it the temptation light. It's a red ball. It's a ball, yay big. A ball, looks like a bowling ball, sitting on a podium, and it lights up red when somebody in the other house is getting frisky. And they don't say who, and they don't say what or how far the temptation has gone. So it could mean sex, it could mean twerking, it could mean whatever. Not sure the rules yet. But the red ball has finally come into play. Vanessa freaks the fuck out because she is not ready for this red ball of seduction, because she thinks that it's gonna be the worst for her every time it goes off. So she's just thinking the worst possible. She's just gonna be freaking out and triggered every time this goes off. And it's like, oh good, because we needed more of Vanessa's shenanigans. All right, so the next night, everybody's having a party, and on the guy's side, it is prom night. So everybody's in these ugly prom dresses and ugly prom things, but it's a cute, fun party. Rob says that he knows that Vanessa is gonna freak out about the light because he knows that her ego or her jealousy or her, she's just gonna, He's not wrong. Hall is 100% into Michaela. She's really the only person he's been talking to this entire time. He says he's needed love and affection for a long time. He hasn't been getting it from Caitlyn. Honestly, I think this man just has a little baby ego and he needs somebody to be fawning over him at all times. Who said that? Great and Nafisa are talking about earlier and the kiss at the Jenga game, and they're flirty, and they decide to go back to Great's room. Meanwhile, Tammy is like, I wanna make out with Great. Where is he? So Tammy goes into Great's room where Great and Nafisa are getting undressed, actively taking off their clothes. Tammy comes in and she's like, what are you doing? Are you okay? And Nafisa's like, the fuck are you doing in here? We're busy. Get out. And Great's like, huh? And Tammy's like, are you okay, Great? Do you know what you're doing? Are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay. And Nafisa's like, what are you doing? And Tammy's like, I just want to make sure Great's okay. And she's like, he's fine. Get out. Eventually, Tammy finds her way out. It was so like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Oh, God. After Tammy leaves, Great and Nafisa continue to do what they started. They finish getting undressed and get under the covers. They're making out. I don't know what else is happening. The next morning, Great says they didn't have sex, but they could have, but it sure looked like they were because somebody was on top of somebody else and there was definite thigh, side butt action scene. So skeptical. Meanwhile, at the girls' party, they are having a casino night. And Christian with a K is really liking Maricela and vice versa. They're dancing and he's taking off his shirt and she's really starting to dig him. Caitlyn misses Hall, Vanessa's stressed out about the light, and Paris and Tajik are hugging and back to flirty and twerking on each other. This is when the red light from Great and Nafisa come on in the ladies' house. While Great and Nafisa are doing whatever they're doing, Vanessa is flipping out over the light, and it's not even Rob. So she's like, she knows it might not be Rob, but because she doesn't know, she's freaking out. This woman needs control over every aspect of her life, and it's manifesting here in this light, but she's been taking it out on Rob. I feel like she's gonna implode. Maricela, however, sees the red light as a challenge. She's like, oh yeah, you're gonna light up this house? Let's light up your house, bitch. That is when the red light goes off again at the girls' house, because at the guys' house, Rob and Desiree are in the hammock together. Last episode, they were making out and dry humping on the couch after a party, so they're in the hammock right now, and they're talking about relationship stuff. And Rob is saying how he feels trapped with Vanessa and not happy, but he feels so much better now that she's gone and more himself. And he is so glad that he met Desiree. And they start making out, and that is the red light that happens over at the house. So this time, Vanessa, this time it is your man. But he ain't your man anymore. He ain't your man anymore. On the girls' side, Caitlyn is talking about how she's torn between Sebastian and Michael. Michael is the one who left rose petals in her room, but she didn't sleep there. She slept on the couch. And Sebastian is the one who had the football in the talent show, which I thought was pretty neat. So she's like holding Sebastian, stroking his hair and stuff like that. But I don't really see Caitlyn making too many moves until she sees Hall making moves. That's just my guess. So we'll see who breaks it first. Maricela, after seeing the red light and taking it as a challenge, decides to take Christian with a K into her room, where they kind of snuggle, they rub hair, and they're just hitting it off, and they end up making out under the covers. At least making out. Not sure about anything else, but definite making out under the covers. So I'm happy for Maricela, because I don't like Christopher for her. He's way too controlling and manipulative, and I don't like it. So I am happy for Maricela. This makes the red light finally go off on the guy's side. And this puts a fire under their asses. So now Rob's a little nervous, but they don't seem to linger on it too long, because now Chris is talking to Alexis, and she's suggesting that he make a pro and con list for Maricela. He says he's already done this. This sounds like a Ross and Rachel situation. Friends, if you know, you know. Chris really wants to kiss Alexis, but he's trying to be good. We'll see how long that lasts too, because as we know, Maricela is hitting it off with Christian at the other villa. Chris asks Nafisa for advice on what to do because he's horny, and Nafisa just laughs and says that everybody's horny. It is time for the second bonfire, and we are with the guys first. Great clip is first. We see Paris getting a lap dance from Tajik at the talent show, and then we see them kissing that night in bed together. Great looks pissed, but he's a fucking hypocrite because he's been doing stuff too. He's been making out with people. He even cheated on Paris prior, so he can shut the fuck up. He says he has no more feelings for her. He's deading it. He's cutting her off. There's no more. And Mark is like, but wait a second. Didn't you cheat, sir? Didn't you make moves when you were together? Before this island? And didn't you make moves on Nafisa? Hypocrite. Much. He encourages Great to not pass judgment on Paris for doing what she needs to do in order to get more closure or insight into their relationship. I just think he's a hypocrite because he cheated and now he's mad at Paris for doing something when they're on a break. And he's doing the same thing. No. Chris's turn. We see Maricela kissing Christian in bed. Chris acts like a therapist or a parent or something, and this is why I don't like him with Maricela. I don't like the way he treats her or talks about her. Because he's like, I'm shocked, I'm disappointed. She set the rules and she was the one to first break them, which I see that being an issue. But like I'm shocked and disappointed, it's like, I'm disappointed in you. But he says he's relieved to be done in the situation. And then he does this thing of like crumpling her up and shooting a basket. And it's like, you have no feelings for this person. Like, how callous is that action? Oh, I'm done. I'm gonna crumple her up and chuck her away into the basket. Fuck you, dude. Douchebag. I really didn't like that. Chris blames Maricela for not being classy, and he's totally judging her for doing anything with Christian, you know, so. And I believe Christopher is the one who classified himself as a respectful hoe. Okay, classy. Is that classy? Huh? These men are such fucking hypocrites. I hate it. He says that she should be ashamed, but he's the one who cheated. He's the one who called himself a respectable hoe. So I'm sorry, Chris. You can go fuck yourself. Respectfully. He also says, I'm not going to judge her, but she should be ashamed. Is that not the definition of judging? Don't tell her what to do. Chris needs a punch in the face. Rob's turn. Rob sees Vanessa dirty dancing with Bryce, but honestly, there's not a lot to show about Vanessa because the guys are not into Vanessa, really. So there's not much footage for Rob to see. And honestly, Rob is doing so much better on his own anyway. He doesn't seem fazed by anything Vanessa does because he's like, okay, that's fine. I'm done. I realize that I'm better off without her. So she can do that, and I'm okay with that. Rob goes on to say that he's lighter and happier without Vanessa, like on his back all the time. And he says that she was in a very, very long-term relationship, like 12 years, I think he said, before him. And in that relationship, she wore the pants, she was controlling. And so that is all she knows. And Rob explains that he thinks that Vanessa's trying to make him into her ex, but he's a different person and he can't ever be her ex. And so therefore he's relieving himself of that stress, of that burden that she's putting on him, and he feels so much better. Mark says that he is so happy to hear what Rob is saying and he's very proud of Rob. Seconded. Good for you, Rob. We end with Hall's clip, and it just shows Caitlyn like holding Sebastian and kind of petting his hair a little bit and flirting a little bit. There isn't much really to show with Caitlyn. I I think there might be if and when Hall makes moves with Michaela, then I think Caitlyn might move on. But until then, I think she's probably going to be pretty chill. So it shows this clip of her and Sebastian, and Hall says he feels neglected in that relationship. He needs hugs, he needs affection, and he says that deep down in their relationship, he knew that she really just wasn't the one for him in the long term. I'm wondering if Caitlyn sees him say that, if that will encourage her to move on and maybe get some shenanigans with one of the guys. I don't know. We shall see at the next bonfire in the next episode. What did you think of this week's Temptation Island? What do you think of the couples? Is it heating up enough for you with that red light going on? Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're into that sort of thing. I also recap Love Island, Love Always, and The Big D, which happens after Temptation Island. So stick around for those recaps. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.